everybody, Gav here back at the E3 show floor here, and I'm with Robin Arnott, and we're here with quite a unique property here. Robin, tell us what exactly we're looking at here. What is Dane playing?
This is Deep Sea. Professionally, I'm a sound designer, and what we're asked to do all the time is bring in the immersion, bring in the element people don't notice, but that makes them shiver or makes them feel something a little different. So this is an experiment of mine, a non-commercial experiment of mine, exploring the potential of immersion and how to achieve that with sense deprivation.
Okay. So what is your immersive goal here, in particular with Deep Sea?
The primary goal itself was actually immersion. Immersion was the end goal. And the method is fear. We see fear used all around us, especially in the game industry, to promote immersion. So everything that you see here, the gas mask, the breathing mechanism, the fact that the player is blinded, that's all there to generate fear, anxiety, all things that distract them from everything going around them, focus them in on the game, make them a little scared, and get them feeling transported.
So what was the motivation in terms of particularly establishing this kind of experience to get at that kind of the immersive end goal?
In most video games and most art altogether, but video games especially, right, you have audiovisual sensation going on, and there are several sensations that are neglected. Touch, heat, sense of smell, and I can't address most of those, but I wanted to use sense at least. Like, you feel the mask hug your face, and that does something because it neutralizes. If you're playing a game with a controller, you hear things that aren't part of the game, you feel the wind cross your face. I wanted to eliminate all of that so you could just focus in on the game experience.
Speaking on the gameplay experience here, what is the player experiencing within his own context?
Sure. I can't say what he's experiencing, but what he's perceiving is he's hearing monster sounds off in the distance. He's hearing this deep rumbling, and most importantly, when he breathes, he hears these oppressive bubbles that make it very difficult to play the game. One of the most wonderful things that happened to me at South by Southwest was I heard somebody scream from across the hall. It's wonderful to breathe without consequence, because it's a very stressful game. But what he's experiencing is so much a product of his imagination. Because he's starved of his primary sense, everyone imagines monsters. Everyone imagines what they look like and has a different description of what they look like. I think that's part of the beauty of the game, is that it leaves so much to the imagination.
Now, mechanically speaking here, I see a instructional screen, I see a couple shifting images here, and I see a joystick. So how exactly is he controlling, and what is he controlling within the experience?
The control system is extremely simple. It's simpler than Asteroids. It's just rotate left, right, and fire. And then there's a monster that rotates across the field as well, and you hit the monster, and then you escape danger for a little bit. And if you keep missing the monster, then it's going to come and eat you. Super simple gameplay dynamic there, but with the addition of the breathing mechanism and being blinded, it makes it incredibly difficult.
Fantastic. Now, this is not, as you said, it's a non-commercial experience here. So is E3 the only time in which you've demoed the product, or what has been the reaction when you've done it elsewhere, if you have?
Sure. So it first played at No Quarter a year ago, the first annual No Quarter, which is an astounding event, by the way. Since then, it's gone to Amsterdam, it's gone to South by Southwest. Somebody fainted playing it at South by Southwest, which is a little unexpected. Since South by Southwest, this is the first place it's been. And I hope to take it to a bunch more festivals. Because it's non-commercial, its life is the festival circuit. But it's also the beginning of another project. After this, I'm working on a series of experiments on immersion, and this is only the first one. When it was first released, it was a very confusing project because people are deprived of their primary sense. They're deprived of the way they perceive, and so I neglected how difficult it is to relearn the act of perception in the course of a 15-minute game, and that's demanding a lot of the player. So over the course of a year and a half or 2 years of working on it on and off, I've been able to hone the experience, really simplify it, and make it a more powerful experience. Right now, I'd say most people who play it have an anxious, scary experience, whereas when it first played at No Quarter, it was a much more difficult, kind of confusing thing.
Any hint at what your next project would be after this?
I'd love to share. We actually just opened the Kickstarter for it this morning. It's called Synapse, and it is so. We see across us in the game industry. I mean, you look all around you, and we're using fear to generate immersion, and that's what I'm doing here. That's exactly what I'm doing here. but I'm not interested in fear. I'm interested in immersion. I'm interested in touching a player. And when the guy fainted at South by Southwest, I realized I really wanted to take this in a more positive direction. So Synapse is a collaborative experience celebrating sensuality, celebrating, trying to provoke a synesthetic euphoria through dance and through movement and through audiovisual and other sensory inputs working in sync together. It's really beautiful. But we are currently seeking funding for it to bring it to Burning Man.
Now, for our more worldly EGs that can make the travel out to these kind of conventions and trade shows here, where else could they find Deep Sea or any other Arnott product in the future?
Sure. Most of my work is found in independent video games. I'm a sound designer, so if you look into games like The Cell, Antichamber, and The Spire, which are going to be, which are all projects I'm working on, you'll see my sound design work there. And I put as much thought into sound as an asset of a greater project as I do in this. But in terms of the pure art stuff, Deep Sea goes wherever I can get it. If people are interested in having it at their event, then I'd love to hear from them. But for now, where I'm sending it is festivals that I know about, and festivals that I think would that have an audience that are particularly open to this kind of experience.
Well, I can't wait to see what Dane here felt on it, and I wish you best of luck in your experiments. Thanks for talking to us, sure. Robin Arnott. For all of EG's E3 coverage, head on over to elder-geek.com.